I like to describe the boarding school experience in Nigeria as, there's hell, and then the next level after hell is boarding school, Nigerian boarding
Right.
school. It was
Okay.
just tough 6 years. I do understand that we are all different. I've come to learn and respect that. My
Yeah.
capacity for adversity is different to John or Jane or whoever's capacity, right? And again, is that bringing empathy, bringing kindness. I'm not just looking at it purely from my lens view, but trying to look at it from other people's lens view as well. So between 2005 and 2007, I put out over 300 applications. And for those over 300 applications, most of them, it just went into a black hole, never got a response. For the few that then responded, I got to an interview stage. I was not successful. If we support these people to win, Scotland wins. It's not just for them, it's for Scotland, it's for the UK. If I, as a straight guy, don't have a conversation with you as non-straight guy and get to come into your world, I'll never understand the challenges you face. Folks are not having conversations anymore because of the fear of saying the wrong thing. So It's just about encouraging people to just have those conversations and be okay to make mistakes, be okay to get it wrong sometimes, but more importantly, let's just have conversations.
Every leader has a story to tell, and the Safe Leader podcast uncovers the diversity story behind leading figures championing change to make our world a better place. Join me, your host, Mark McBride-Wright, as we hear from business leaders, academics, entrepreneurs, and agents of change as they share their journeys of innovation, resilience, and transformation. Together, we explore how they embrace the principles of safe leadership, sharing, acting, feeling, and empowering to create safer, more inclusive environments for everyone. Hello, welcome to the next episode of the Safe Leader podcast. I'm your host, Mark McBride-Wright, and I am delighted today, finally, to be joined with Enoch Adeyemi, who is the founder and CEO of Black Professionals United Kingdom. So Enoch himself identifies first as human. Moreover, he holds the distinction of being a fellow of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants and specializes in consulting within the financial services industry. Driven by a strong commitment to positive change, Enoch has founded several organizations, including Black Professionals United Kingdom, a rapidly growing entity that offers support to professionals, students, and corporate partners. Additionally, he contributes his expertise in leadership, finance, diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as entrepreneurship across multiple advisory boards. Enoch, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, for having me. We got there eventually.
I placed a bit of emphasis there in the introduction, yes, because in setting up this podcast, I went through my LinkedIn and was figuring out, right, who in my network would be really interesting to talk to. So you were in that first batch of people that I, reached out to and scheduled talks with. But then, life got in the way for both of us, didn't it? I think we rescheduled about 4 times.
A few times. I mean, I think the universe has said this recording is gonna happen today. So today is the best day.
Exactly. It's so nice that we both mutually respected one another's time and have made that commitment to show up for each other to do this recording. And this is also our first time meeting, I think, isn't it? We've never met before. We've been in mutual circles and similar overlaps, but we've never actually met at an event or met online or met on a webinar or anything. So
Indeed. So the next step really is to meet in person. So you need to come up to Edinburgh again. Go for a drink.
I do. Next time I'm back at home in my hometown, I absolutely need to let you know that. It's funny though, isn't it? When you go back to wherever it is you grew up, I kind of go back into teenage Mark modes. It's almost like I find it strange when I work with clients based in Edinburgh or I'm doing actual work in Edinburgh. I'm like, oh, there's actually businesses here and work happened. Like, this is
You didn't notice that when you were a teenager, right?
No. I just used to just go to the Omni Centre to go for Pizza Hut, and then use my Young Scott card to get 25% off the View Cinema, you know? Anyway, so Safe Leader podcast. In terms of the structure, I love starting off first and foremost, finding out a bit about the person on the podcast, finding out a bit about your past, your history, your motivations. You know, are you doing now what you thought you would be doing back in the past? And I'm really interested in your description of yourself as human, uh, first and foremost. So take us back to the young Enoch, and has that always been part of your identity, or how has it evolved over time? What did the young Enoch? What was the young Enoch like?
Young Enoch grew up in Nigeria. I grew up in Lagos. So,
Okay.
if you know anything about Lagos, it's sort of go 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 type of city. And I went to a boarding school, and I have to put a clause on that because whenever I tell this to British people, they just assume, oh, posh. So boarding school in Nigeria, very different experience. So it's basically where your parents, I don't want to use the word dump, but where your parents dump you so they can sort of get on with life type of thing. So we are five. We eventually became six children, and my parents were very busy business
Okay.
people. So there really isn't the capacity to sort of look after us day by day. And
Yeah.
also being in a boarding school was a good experience because then you're just learning, right?
Yeah.
You're away. So the boarding school system in Nigeria is different again in the sense that you're basically there for 3 months at a time.
Okay.
So like bye, see ya type of thing. So that was how I grew up, and that was very tough. So I like to describe the boarding school experience in Nigeria as there's hell, and then the next level after hell is boarding school, Nigerian boarding
Right.
school. It was
Okay.
just tough 6 years, and that was me going in. My son is 10 years old now, and I was telling my wife the other day, like, I was his age when I went to boarding school, and I can now thinking of it, I can't believe it because he
Yeah.
seems so young and innocent, and that was the age at which I went into this space where everybody wanted to kill you. Your teachers
Really.
wanted to kill you. Your We call them seniors, so those that were years ahead of you in school wanted to kill you. Everybody has a thing out for you, and you have to survive that for 6 years.
Right.
But you know what? What that has then done for me is it's made me who I am now to the point that almost nothing phases me. You
Right.
can't you c- you can't you can't reach me. I don't know what the word is. You can't phase me anymore. I feel like I've gone through my toughest
You,
years very
yeah.
early on in life, right? So that was how I grew up. But I was very ambitious. I wanted to become an accountant from a very early age. I think from 11, 12, I was good at maths. I was good at bookkeeping, which was one of the subjects in school. And I knew if I studied accounting, that could be a path for me to have a successful career. Because in Nigeria, when you're deciding what you want to do career-wise, you're looking at it from the lens view of income as well. Just
Right.
because you've got to make an income. It's not like the UK where if things fail, you can rely on the government. In Nigeria, if things fail,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the income side was very good. So yeah, I always wanted to become an accountant, and that was how I grew up. And the old concept of human being human first was not something I coined up then. It was in my later life when I started doing the work I do around community and support and equity that I realized that as a human race we have forgotten that we are first. So Mark, you're a white guy, your what's it called, sexuality is different to mine. We have a lot of things that are different.
Mhm.
However, we are human first.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
underlying core similarity between us, and that's
Yeah.
the main similarity between us before all the 10 million differences. And that's why I like to describe myself as human first, so that way we are the same first before
Yeah.
all the other differences we have. So yeah, that was sort of my childhood growing up in Lagos, and then that's how I came about this whole concept of describing my first self as human.
To feel like you've gone through the hard years of your life early on, where the experience of it is just one above hell. That's quite an indictment or description, I guess, of what you must have endured.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I'll give you a quick example just to paint the picture, right? So, 10 years old, first day, boarding school. The boarding school was really good academically, so it was oversubscribed. So the hostels were really full, so there wasn't any bunk bed for me. So essentially, when I got to the school, the only space I got was the floor. So I came with my mattress and everything. So I set up bed on the floor. I put my mattress on the ground, and that was me in the boarding school for the first time. I didn't know what the rules were. I didn't know how
Yeah.
things operated, and I was trying to sort of set myself up, put my things away at the age of 10, right?
Yeah.
And then 10 p.m. they just shouted light out. I didn't understand the concept of light out, so they switched off the light in the room so
Yeah.
that everybody can go to bed. But I was still trying to sort of sort my stuff out. And this senior, I just felt this lash on my back. And I looked up and it was a senior just lashing me with his belt, like light out, bedtime. And that was welcome to boarding school. So that sets the tone for the remaining 6 years. So yeah, so it sort of sets me up for where I am now. So life is much easier for me now, to the point
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
when I then went into the workplace and challenges came across, I was like, this is easy, man.
Yeah. You're like, when people are like, I don't feel like I belong, you're like,
Right.
honestly, like, come back to what I grew up with, and this is heaven.
Yeah, this is indeed. I mean, yeah. So, but then I do understand that we are all different. So
Yeah.
I've gone through that adversity, and no matter what you throw at me now, I'm fine. But then not everybody is the same, and I've come to learn and respect that, because early on I just go, people should just freaking toughen up, right? Why do they complain? Why do they moan?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
time, again, I've become matured in my thinking to understand that we're all different. My
Yeah.
capacity for adversity is different to John or Jane or whoever's capacity, right? And again, is that bringing empathy, bringing kindness. I'm not just looking at it purely from my lens view, but trying to look at it from other people's lens view as well. So that's again part of the maturity journey I've been on in the last few years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, I totally get that. It's like I was actually delivering some training this week, and we were doing the stress bucket exercise, where you look at stressors coming into your life and what coping mechanisms are you doing, healthy, unhealthy, to like release that pressure, release that stress, so that you're managing it and you're not overflowing. And the point I sort of make is, each person has a different volume bucket, and that bucket volume can vary from day to day, from hour to hour almost. So it's the same point you say about your propensity and ability to endure a challenging situation will
Very
be
different.
different to
Yeah.
another person's, and vice versa. Other people may be able to breeze through certain contexts that you find challenging, or I guess this is where like equity comes in as well, where systemic bias exists. Just by virtue of who we are and how we show up, there are there's a higher wall to climb, unfortunately, with how things are, and which is what we're both striving to try and change. And so, really interested to if you could talk us through like some of the projects that you now do. You've got an array of organizations, initiatives, brands, like things that you've established, where I guess each one ties to maybe one of your hobbies or part of your identity, because there's a real mixture in there, from walking groups or from conferences or from awards programs. So yeah, tell us a bit about the work that you're doing with your advocacy nowadays.
Yeah, so again, because of my own experience of finishing university and the challenges I went through in sort of starting my career, so I'll just put this number out there for those listening. And again, because of my experience in my early years, that helped me sort of survive that stage. So when I finished university, I went to the University of Liverpool. It was a degree from 2003 to 2006. So essentially from 2005, I started applying for graduate roles for the next year, right? So from 2005, I started the application all the way to 2006. Nothing came through. I then went on to do a master's 2006 to 2007. So between 2005 and 2007, I put out over 300 applications. And for those over 300 applications, most of them it just went into a black hole, never got a response. And for the few that then responded, that I got to an interview stage, I was not successful. So again, it just ties into that propensity. I went through that and I kept going until I eventually got a role. Unfortunately, a lot of the people I went to university with did not, just to the point I made around, we all have different capacity for adversity. So I
Yeah.
had the capacity to just keep going, like just keep hitting me with a no. I know
Yeah.
someone is gonna hit me with a yes.
Yes.
Nobody could do 300. Some people stopped at 50. Some people stopped at 100, right? So because of that experience I went through and that challenge, when I eventually was settled in my career, I'd done my qualifications. I was chartered. I felt, wow, that was a painful experience that I went
Yeah.
through,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then it was the thing around what can I do to make it easier for others that are coming after me.
Hmm.
And that was where the idea came to start a network. And
Okay.
that network started as Edinburgh Black Professionals and then evolved over the years to become Black Professionals UK. So what we do within the network is we support black students and professionals. We've broadened to an extent to other ethnic minority as well. So just
Okay.
support them on their journey from finishing university, trying to get into work. So the challenges I faced, trying
Interesting.
to
Right.
support them on that journey.
So
Because something,
that yeah that's your niche. That band. That's what you try and cover mainly. The
yes,
finishing university and then securing a
position.
professional role.
Yep, yep,
Interesting.
yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, because one thing to add as well is because we started this in Scotland. So for context, for your members that are for the audience that are not based in Scotland, most of the black people in Scotland today in 2025 are first generation immigrants, right?
Yeah.
So we are very different to your black people in London, in Manchester, and Birmingham, right? Our challenges are different. We have no community, we have no family, no uncles, no
Yes.
aunties, no network to lean on. So having that network was very essential because then you were not walking that journey by yourself. You could
Yep.
call someone, you could tap into that network. And yeah, we've grown into over 6,000 members. So those are
Ah.
students, professionals. Yeah, it's been a journey of growth. The first 4 years, nothing happened, and then after 2020, COVID, Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, we things really picked up for us as an organization, and the amount of impact we've had since then, I'm only humbled by it to think, here I am, this lowly guy, without any, not much, I don't know, just wanted to do something to support
Yeah.
others. And we've gone on to become, Black Professionals UK, working with businesses, working with the government, working with our community, and working with the wider Scottish community and the wider UK community as well. But then beyond that, that has then given birth to other organizations. So Black Professionals UK has then gone on to Black Professionals Ireland, Black Professionals Europe, Black
Okay.
Professionals Australia as well. And then on the back of that, we have then started our big career conference, which is an annual conference we host in Glasgow and bring about 500 delegates to the conference and 30
Okay.
employers. And essentially, that conference is a full day empowerment conference for the attendees or for the delegates. Again, supporting, giving them all the soft skills and all the
Yeah.
networking and all the connections for their career journey. So we usually get a good mix of 50-50 attendance. 50% of the attendees are students, 50% of
Right.
them are professionals like myself. I've been
Fantastic.
working for 20 years, but then there's still a lot of opportunity to learn from others and also to network as well. And then on the back of that, we've gone on to start the Black Scottish Awards, which we hosted 2 Saturdays ago on the 27th of September. So again, that is about 500 guests coming to
Uh-huh.
Glasgow Hilton, celebrating. The reason for the awards is we wanted to celebrate. I mean, I've been in Scotland for about 20 years, and the black population in Scotland has grown significantly in that time.
Wow.
So it was that from that place of we've grown so much, we are doing so much within Scotland, we're adding so much to the Scottish community. How can we spotlight all these amazing people that are doing so much? And that was where the awards idea came from. But then beyond spotlighting them, it's then how can we get them and their story to inspire the rest of us to say you too can, right? And that was where the Black Scottish Awards came from. And of course, we've started the Young Black Future as well, which is an initiative to support young children from the age of 11 to 17, sort of in that
Okay.
high school age where they
Yeah.
sort of unsure what the future holds. They need those soft skills because a lot of those kids are growing up in Af- African Caribbean households, right?
Right.
And some of the things in our household may not be beneficial to going out into the world to succeed. So
Right.
I'll give you an example. Some of it is around, don't challenge authority, right? Don't speak up and things like that, which is all good in the house. But then when you get out into the workplace, you need to challenge authority. You need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
speak
yeah.
up. So it's just sort of supporting them and getting them ready for the future of work, and then also helping them with career guidance and all that. So a lot of initiatives have sort of grown from the original Black Professionals UK. So, but yeah, don't want to go. I'll
No, no, it's
hand the
fine.
mic back to you.
No, I love it. I've been I love hearing the context, the evolution, the I heard that statistic or read about it. I might have even read it in one of your blogs or a post that you put on LinkedIn about that point that the black population in Scotland is all first generation, more or less, and therefore you're building community. You're building a community. That's what you're doing, because there is not a community based on historical anchor points, and so. Um, I think that is absolutely fascinating, and I can completely relate because when I was at school, there was one black family in a high school of however many hundreds of people. There was like one black family, so it very much was ethnic minority. I mean, can you get more minority than like one family? So and this was, I mean, I didn't know about diversity, equity, and inclusion when I was a teenager and growing up, and differences and all that. And when I think back on it now, or when I think about how things must be now, it's my hope is that whilst we still have DEI as a concept and something that we hold dear in terms of the fabric of our population and stuff, that actually the work that people like yourself are doing for your community is generating a positive experience. It's helping young people, notwithstanding the fact that the generation coming through now are more forward thinking and
Yes,
open.
yes, yes.
um, I guess my nieces are going through, the schooling system that I went through, and I think their experience is just different to what I had 20 odd years ago, in a
Yep,
good way.
yep. Yeah, 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 definitely. And that change is across Scotland. So as I said, I don't live in Edinburgh. I live in a small town between Edinburgh and Glasgow. So that's a small town in context. But and in that small town, the my kids are in primary school. Take my kids to school. So many black families, and you would not see that 20 years from now. I mean,
Yeah,
20 years ago when you were in school, Mark. And also, but then, I'm because I'm an accountant. Some people may challenge this because I'm an accountant. I'm a very logical thinker, right? I'm black and white, so I'm always around. So all these initiatives and solutions and programs I've gone on to be part of starting or co-creating. It's always around, if we support these people to win, Scotland wins,
yeah,
right? So it's not just for them, it's for Scotland, it's for the UK.
yeah,
So I'll give you an example. When I went to university, a lot of the guys I went to university with, bright guys, you're an engineer, Mark. A lot of them studied electrical, because when you come from Nigeria, right, you don't come to study philosophy. No offense to philosophy students, right? You come to study the medicine, the accounting,
yeah,
the economics, the engineering.
yeah,
So these
yeah,
guys are pretty smart, you could say that. And then they finished their degree in Liverpool, and most of them ended up in customer service roles and sort of door roles and all that. So if you look at it from point of view of the economy, that's
yeah,
a loss for the UK
yeah.
economy.
Huge, huge.
If this guy can operate at a certain level and is operating here, that's underemployment, that's a
Yeah, yeah.
loss. But it's not just a loss for them, that then translates down to the next generation. But
Yeah.
then ultimately, there's a wider loss there. So I'm
No,
always
you're
thinking, how
right.
can we plug that loss, fix it now, and let these people blossom? And then that translates to the next generation and so on.
No, you're right, actually, and you remind me actually of yeah, some universities we've worked with which have been non-Russell Group, and their students, whether it's elitism or snobbery, they're high achieving engineers, but they're working in a supermarket, a year after graduation, and there's nothing wrong with that. People have to fill those jobs and do those roles, but to your point, they also could be running like engineering programs, you know. And the longer you are away from your core technical career, I don't know what the actual percentages are in terms of time passing, but you're less and less likely to
Lower the
actually
chance of getting back in.
come
Yeah.
back in. Exactly. So yeah, it's a real issue. One what where has the net immigration then come from with the how has the black population in Scotland started growing in terms of like has there been um some interest to emigrate to the UK from communities in Africa and like I mean, I went to Imperial, so it was a culture shock for me moving from small parochial town in Scotland, where, like I said, there was only one black family, to then going to Imperial College, London, where there was loads of people, different diversity groups all round, and we had a large Nigerian contingent actually studying chemical engineering, and it was great. You know, you got to learn about different cultures, about different identities. I will admit, as a gay man, as a gay teenager, actually, when I said there was a bit of a barrier there for me personally because of I know homophobia is quite rife, can be quite rife in the black community compared to so I sort of had my guard up quite a bit when I was studying, um, but yeah, maybe if I'd opened that up a bit more, I would have mingled more. I don't know.
No, no, no. I mean, so you made 2 points there, and I'll just pick them up one by one. So, with regards to that point around homophobia being rife earlier on, this is why the work we do is around having cross divide conversations, right? Over
Yeah,
difference conversations, right? And if I as a straight guy don't have a conversation with you as um non-straight guy, if I can call it that, and get to come into your world, I'll never understand the challenges you face. All right.
yeah,
Just the same with if a white guy doesn't have a conversation with a black woman, you can never understand the challenges they face. You can read about it on wherever, but if we're not having those conversations where I'm telling you just everyday daily stuff, right? Okay, before I came to work today, this was what happened to me.
yeah,
Bring you into my world, and so again, I've done a bit of work in that space around. I've written a book myself and my wife have written a book to break down those barriers and help us all have better conversations, because
yeah.
I'm of the opinion that we are good first before we are not good, right?
Yes.
Our core is good, human, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the layers that are polluted by maybe the way we grew up or where we grew up and some of the things that were fed to us when we're growing up. So and that's why I think if we have those conversations, we can get back to that core, that good
That's
core.
the common core, the human
There's
race.
nothing wrong with this ethnicity. There's nothing wrong with this sexuality. There's nothing wrong with this gender.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So to your point around what drove the growth of black folks in Scotland, because Scotland is just amazing, right? You're missing out, Mark. You went to London, so you went. Someone has got to fill that space, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
but jokes apart, the reason why I came to Scotland was I came here for my masters, all right, and things have worked out for me since then. And what has driven a lot of people to Scotland? Two reasons. A good amount of them have come from England because of everything that's happening in England with the black community around, gang culture and all that. That's one.
All right.
But most the prevalent migration has been purely straight from Africa, and
Right.
just because people wanting better economic outcome. And you then ask me why Scotland, why not England?
Mhm.
It's the case that one person comes to Scotland, goes around and says, "Oh, you know what, Scotland is nice," and then they tell their uncle and their sister, their brother, that comes, and it's just that ripple effect here.
Oh,
So myself, I'll use myself as an example. I'm a very good example of that. I came here in 2006. So since then, my brother has joined me, another brother has joined me, sister has joined, dad has joined, mom has joined. So,
wow.
and it's that thing of Scotland is nice, Scotland is nice, Scotland is nice. You can build a good life here, and that has just then that good word has spread, and that's why we've seen that growth
Amazing.
in the black community. So this is not to say Scotland is perfect. It's
Of course
not.
not.
But it's a place where there are opportunities for you to have a good life. And the people around are generally good people, and
Okay.
you can build a good future for yourself and your children
You
here.
start. you sort of know where you stand. I like to
Yes,
think with
yes.
Scottish people, like,
Yeah, there's no nonsense.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, it's the sort of place where you just can't really complain about customer service, whatever, because the bartender or the restaurant owner will tell you if you are being
Yep,
arsehole.
yep,
You
yep,
know,
yep.
uh,
It is what it is.
but I like to think, therefore, it's friendly and welcoming because you know when it gets nasty, it can get really nasty. Like, well, I'm generalizing my entire like Scotland, but you know, I find when I hear this about Scotland being a really friendly place, but then sometimes when I see things in the news or whatever about something that's happened, I'm like, gosh,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
I
really
mean,
extreme, you know?
yeah, 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 absolutely. I mean, I say all that nice stuff, and it's not to say there are no bad stuff. There are bad stuff happening every day,
Yeah,
everywhere in Scotland. But ultimately, that does not represent the whole of
of
Scotland.
course
Those,
not.
those are just people going out of their way to do what they want to do.
Yeah,
As a people, as a population, Scottish people are lovely people. I've been here for 20 years. My kids are now Scottish, so I mean, I
yeah, of
can't
course.
say I can't say anything against Scottish people. My kids.
Your kids are Scottish. So have you got this lovely situation where you and your wife and your kids have all got different accents when you're
Yes. So my wife is Nigerian like me, so similar accents.
yeah,
But my kids, it's interesting. So I think if you grew up in a migrant home, you probably
uh-huh.
don't pick up the Scottish accent as strong as
Right.
Scottish kids growing up in Scottish homes. So my
Yeah.
kids don't have strong Scottish accents, but at the same time, they don't
Oh, they'll
sound like
have
a kid growing up in London. So
no,
their accent is somewhere.
they'll have Scottish accents,
Yeah, they
definitely.
do. They do. It's
Like,
just
yeah,
very subtle. It's not your
certain ones.
hardcore hit you in the
Yeah.
face Scottish accent.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. Where you have to kind of scrunch your eyes up and think, what did they just say?
is that English?
Oh, I love it. Love it. You made a point. You said some people have been driven to have made the relocation to Scotland because of gun crime.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So with everything happening in London, right? Or London, Birmingham, Manchester. So
Yeah.
I've met families that have basically just moved up to Scotland.
Right.
Just you've got a better chance. You've got a chance of having a more balanced life in Scotland
Okay.
than if you lived in London or wherever. I'll put some numbers to it as well, right? So if you lived in London, you are probably living in some small flats just because you can't afford should I say, proper house, quote and unquote, just
Yeah.
because of the cost of living in London. And with that community, the community I'm talking about that have made that move, they are not doing the 100K, 200K job. No, they are doing the
Yeah.
30K, 40K job. So
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
living in a place where you're earning low and your cost
Yeah.
is high. So
Yeah.
what they are then figuring out, again, just from conversations with family and friends that are in Scotland, is you know what, with that income you're getting, if you move
Yeah.
to Scotland, you can live in a nice area, your kids are safer, they go to a good school, and
Yeah.
your outcome is better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is driving that move around. It's madness to stay in this city, and then because they earn that income, they live in certain areas that leaves
Yeah.
their kids more exposed to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
all this drama. However, I mean, you know Edinburgh very well. Using Edinburgh as an example. If you earn 40K, you can live in a decent place in
Yeah.
Edinburgh, go to a
Yeah.
decent school,
Yeah.
and have a better outcome. So again, we're seeing some of that as well. But most of the immigration or the moves to Scotland has been folks coming from Caribbeans, but mostly from Africa.
Okay. And so, what you had in your portfolio of things as of entities that you've created as well, like a walking group. I was interested to find out more about that.
Yes, yes. So I grew up in Lagos, right? So there is no, I didn't grow up hiking. That I didn't. I'm sure hiking was not in my dictionary when I was growing up, on my vocabulary. But when I moved to Scotland in 2006, I must have gone on Arthur Seat. I think it's a rite of passage. If you live in Edinburgh, you've got to
Yeah.
go on Arthur Seat. So I went on Arthur Seat, got to the top of the mountain, looks down, and I thought, this experience is nice. I'm actually looking down at the world. And so since then, I've been excited about about the outdoors. But then that
Interesting.
excitement or that journey then spiked when my brother came and joined me, and I think he took it to the next level, right? So we then start going on the big mountains, the Monroes
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So doing the more extreme stuff like camping, skinny dipping and all that. But then from doing that, we started. My brother again, he's very good at creating content, like pictures and
Right.
videos, right? And then we had a drone at that time, so he was capturing
Ah,
our experience, putting it on his Instagram,
cool.
and then folks started reaching out to say, "Oh, can I come with you guys?" Folks from our community saying, "Can I
Yeah.
come with you guys where next to go outdoors? Because you guys make it fun. You make it look exciting."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That was essentially how it started. We started taking folks with us, and then after a while, we realized this is something.
Other
This could be
community.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we named it Black Scottish Adventurers, and it's just grown since then. So we have over 4,000 members within that network now. We started our first proper trip together as a group was April 2022, and what I've enjoyed about it is we've now exposed folks from our community to the outdoors, folks that would never before think about it, because folks from
Yeah.
our community generally do not. As I said, first generation immigrants, the priority is I need to earn an income, I
Right.
need to live a
Right.
decent life. That's the priority. I came to the
And
UK for
every
economic
hour.
reasons. Yeah.
Hour.
So we're not shifting their mindset around, yeah, you can do all that, but you can also enjoy Scotland. You can enjoy the Monroes, you can enjoy the outdoors,
Yeah.
you can go for a walk, and you can do it safely because we can provide you with all the information and the empowerment
Yeah.
and all that. So for me, seeing on our trip, you see the 65-year-old woman, you see the 5-year-old girl, you see a good range of people, and
Oh,
then it's not
wow.
just black folks, right? Everyone, you see the Asians, the whites, the blacks,
Yeah.
everyone coming on the adventure, having a good time together, and then having breaking bread together after the trip. But more importantly, it's what happens once we finish the adventures, because we go on adventures once a month. Speaking of which, we're going on one on Saturday. We're going to Perth. Um, After the adventure, folks are then networking and going on to do their own thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's that community we're building as well, because as I
Yeah.
said, because it's first generation immigrants, there's still a lot of loneliness issues. People are
Okay.
migrating and they're finding themselves in a strange land. And
Yeah.
then coming on that adventure, you do have an opportunity to build a community, to make new friends who
Yeah.
can
I
then
love that.
who can go to the cinema with you, go do those
And do
everyday
business.
stuff we
And do
do. Yeah,
business as well.
yeah,
Contract with you, do business. I,
yep.
I, I've built a few communities myself over the years, and I've always thought, if business deals can be done on golf courses between white men, business deals can be done in gay bars in Soho, and any so business deals and networking can be done, and connections can be made that might lead to business on adventures in the Scottish Highlands. Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, that's the Black Scottish Adventurers story, and I think our highlight is the fact that we've been on Ben Nevis. So Ben Nevis is the highest mountain in the UK.
Yeah.
We go on that every January, first weekend in January, which is
Okay.
hardcore, right? I mean, going on Ben Nevis on a good day is hard, but then going in the middle of winter is
Yeah.
really hard. So we've been doing that for we usually go with about 20, 30 adventurers. So we don't go with everyone. We go with people that
Yeah.
can actually do it, because we're
Yeah.
walking for
Skill level.
a good 8 hours in the
Yeah.
snow, in the
Yeah.
cold, in the wind, like everything is thrown at you. Again, we've just done that just to again build that community of really the hardcore adventurers and those that just want to set themselves up for the year. And what we
Yeah.
always say on that trip is, if you can do Ben Nevis in the first weekend in January, you're set for the year.
Yeah. You can do anything. My goodness. My goodness. So you mentioned that you and your wife had written a book. Why is this wrong? So
Yes.
tell us a bit about your book.
Yes, sure. So my wife is in HR, coincidentally, and we just over time we've found that folks are not having conversations anymore because of the fear of saying the wrong thing,
Mm.
right? So when I say folks are not having conversation, that over the fence conversation where people from different backgrounds, maybe ethnicity or age or gender or whatever, they've stopped, because I don't want to say the wrong thing to you, Mark, because I don't want to say something that you may see as homophobic. You don't say something to me that I may see as racist and all that. So everybody's just staying in their camp, right?
Yeah.
And we thought, And we're already seeing it, right? I mean, we see that play out on the street now.
Yeah.
We thought that would just create echo chambers where people go into their own bubble and
Yeah.
just blow up in their bubble and say that group is bad,
Totally.
that those groups are bad, those guys are bad, right? And we're seeing that, unfortunately. So because of that, because of saying that, we thought, what again? My the way my mind works, I'm a very maybe like an engineer. You guys are very solutions driven. I'm a very
Yeah.
solutions driven person. So I thought, is there anything I can do or we can do about that? So we thought, okay, let's write a book. So we came up with this idea of let's break everything down into the 9 protected characteristics.
Yeah.
And let's look at the inappropriate phrases that are said to all those 9 protected
Okay.
characteristics. So we picked
Interesting.
about 10 for each category. So we have about 90 phrases in there. And then what we try to do with those phrases are why. So this phrase, for example, where are you from? It's innocent. There's nothing wrong with it. However, I
Yeah.
personally, I don't have anything against it. If you ask me where are you from, I'll tell you, well, I live in Falkirk, but I'm from Nigeria. I don't care. However, if you then ask my children's children who were born in Scotland, their dad is Scottish, their all they've known is Scotland. You're asking them where are you from? They may
Yeah.
find that offensive because they're thinking I'm from Scotland.
Yeah.
Why asking me that question? Why are you not asking um Maki, who is also
Yeah.
from Scotland and white? You're just asking me because I'm black, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's going into that book and explaining why that phrase is wrong, and also empathizing with the person asking to say we get why you're asking it, but this
Yeah.
is how it
Yeah.
may be perceived, and
Yeah.
then so sometimes suggesting optional questions to ask. And most of it, the optional things we suggested is just have a general conversation, get to know that person. If you get to know them, you will ultimately find out where they're from or what
Yeah.
their
Yeah. Yeah.
history is, right? If you make friends with my son over time, you'll find out his dad is Nigerian, right?
Yeah.
Without asking him, because that will come up in conversations.
Yeah.
So it's just about encouraging people to just have those conversations and be okay to make mistakes, be
Yeah.
okay to get it wrong sometimes, but more importantly, let's just have conversations. So that's what the book is about, and yeah, it's been exciting writing it and pushing it out into the world.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, we can put a link to it in the show notes and that as well. And I completely can relate to one of the most powerful slides that I use in my content when I'm delivering training is a foot walking on some eggshells, and everyone in the room's like, yes, that's how we feel about X, Y, and Z, and um, I remember when I broadened out from inter-engineering my LGBT network, which I was always very comfortable in because I'm gay and then I'm part of that community. So, I'm with my people and stuff. But when I set up Equal Engineers, I set it up in the July. We did our first careers fair in the November 2017. But before that, for Black History Month in October 2017, I really wanted to do an event for Black History Month. Um, so I got a panel of people. I think UCL hosted it, and we ended up having about 35 people in the audience and a panel for Black History Month, and I was hosting it, and I was so nervous. I felt like that walking on eggshells. This was before I had that slide that I use
Right,
in my
yeah,
content. Um, but I'd been working with, and also there were about 4 of us that were white at the event. Everyone else was black and ethnic minority, or BME as the phrase was back then that we used, which I know we don't use much now. But anyway, my friend Nike Folayan, who's one of the co-founders of AFBE, the Association for Black Engineers, Nike and Ollie, Niki was like, Mark, don't worry about it. We've got your back, and we fully know you've got positive intent. So if you say anything wrong, if you slip up, I'm going to correct you. Don't worry about it. Just go out there, be confident, do it, and just own the
yeah,
moment. Say
yeah,
you're learning in real time. And that really put me at ease. Because I noticed that I was one of those white people that used to pause before I said the word black, or I would say the word black in, like, a lower volume, like the community, and the black community in the UK, and I was like, that was such a real moment for me, and I still see it in people in my when I'm delivering training and
yeah,
that, and
yeah,
I'll just say black in the same, like, because it's part of the sentence. So stuff like that is where it language matters. how you communicate and how you say stuff matters. Not just what you say, but how you say it, your confidence saying it. And it takes for you, one, to understand what words mean in community and how they're received. So I'll definitely get a copy of your book. I only saw that you had it when we connected recently, planning this. So yeah, thank you for writing that and putting that out in the world.
No worries. Thanks.
So before we move on to quick fire questions, then what's next for you? What new projects have you got bubbling up your sleeve? Like what do you envisage the next few years holding for you?
So, Mark, if you asked me that question 5 years ago, all these things I've told you I've done, I wouldn't have mentioned it just because I don't live life that way. I
Yeah.
just, I just do it. So as things come my way, I just decide to pick it or not pick it. So if I decide to pick, I just run with it. So what I'm gonna be doing next year, other big things, I genuinely do not know. However, something something exciting I'm currently working on is my son. So nothing to do with accounting or community well, it's still community, but nothing to do with sort of black or DEI and all
Yeah.
that. So my son started competing recently as an athlete. He's a
Okay.
10-year-old boy, and he's been doing that for a year now, and I've sort of been sucked into that world. And the way my brain works, again, as I said, sort of that engineering, accounting brain.
Yeah.
Been to the competitions, I've looked at it, and I've thought, I, I reckon I can do this better.
Ah!
you know, so I mean, better for everyone, better for the athletes, better for those coming to watch, the spectators, and then more importantly, it's around thinking something happened as well, right? Where some of my son's friends came to watch him. So my son is actually quite fast. So they
You're
came to watch him.
underplaying that. I remember seeing your LinkedIn post saying that
Ah,
for
yeah,
his age group, he was the fastest runner in Scotland.
in Scotland, yeah, yeah. So he is that fast, right? So his friends came
Yeah,
to
he's
watch
very
him.
fast.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know where he got it from. And then he just blew the competition away. It was that one where he was just running his own race and everybody was stuck behind. And then his friends got so excited and they thought, I want to do athletics as well. Because I've always
Oh.
looked at athletics and thought we could get better athletes in Scotland. But then most people in Scotland don't think athletics. They just think football or gymnastics and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
dancing. So again, part of the reasons why I wanted to do that is to get non-athletic people and family to come as spectators, just as a day out event. So there'll be a lot
Okay.
of exciting stuff happening. It's not just gonna. And what we're also doing is we're inviting only the fastest athletes. So we're not
So hang on,
inviting.
I missed what you're doing. So you're creating a new running festival or something, a new
Yes,
athletic.
yes, yes.
Right,
It's called sprint. We've called it sprint first. So it's just 100
right.
meter sprint, inviting only the fastest athletes in Scotland to the competition. So it's not open to everyone. It's not open to all the athletes. It's just the fastest people. So you as a spectator coming, you're coming to watch the fastest guys in Scotland compete for a cash prize and just for bragging rights. But then in the
Yeah,
midst of that, there'll be other entertaining stuff as well. We get cheerleaders come, do their cheerleading stuff. We just make it an entertaining day. There'll be bouncy
yeah.
castle for the kids, there'll be face painting for the kids. So that's something I'm working on next year. It's strange, it's crazy, it's a new world. I don't know anything about how to host an athletics event, but I'm learning every day. I'm just figuring it out every day. I'm speaking to people, I'm pulling things together. So I'm excited at the same time, sort of nervous, but because of my back, I mean, history of delivering
Oh,
things
you'll pull it
successfully.
out the bag.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I hope
You'll,
so. I hope so. I hope
you'll
so.
manage.
I'm pretty confident that I can pull it together and make it
Definitely.
a spectacle, and all, hopefully, that can then become a catalyst for other good things for athletes and just for the sporting community in Scotland.
Yeah.
So that's something I can definitely tell you I'm working on. Beyond that, I don't know.
Oh, I
I
love
just
it. I love it. I love it. I love your energy and like, I just, yes, I love it. Honestly, keep doing what you're doing. It's brilliant. It's
thank you, Mark.
absolutely brilliant. Okay, quick fire questions. What's your favorite book or podcast at the moment?
Okay, podcast. It's a podcast called So Don't Judge Me for This. It's called UK True Crime. And basically, yeah, this guy just talks about crime.
Right.
So yeah, that's my favorite podcast. Yeah, and book. I enjoy the Bible. I enjoy reading the Bible. I know that's a juxtaposition, like reading the Bible and then listening to true crime. Two different things, but what can I say?
To their own. Right. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning, 5 a.m. Day starts at 5, and then once this is 3:25. Any moment from now, my brain starts to shut down.
Right. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?
It's going to be Miriam Makeba, and I don't know if most people probably don't know her. So she is a Grammy Award winning artist from apartheid South Africa. And what I
Okay.
loved about her is even though she had that fame and she had all that, she was still able to put her reputation and name on the line and sort of speak against the evil of apartheid and just injustice across
Yeah,
the
yeah.
world. So if I could, I think it'd be fun to have dinner with her. I think she will have some good stories to share as a show girl, and hopefully sing for me as well. So Miriam Makeba from South Africa.
What's one app or tool that you can't live without?
WhatsApp.
What's your favorite spot in Scotland?
Favorite spot. So the Hermitage. So I don't know if you know the Hermitage. So the Hermitage is a
No.
spot in Perth. It's a beautiful sort of woodland area. There's waterfall. There's a
Right.
beautiful. So if you go at this time of the year, the leaves are just turning sort of orange, autumny. It's just a beautiful place to just go for a lovely long walk on a nice sunny day or even a nice cold day. So the Hermitage in Perth.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice. It's not that important.
If you weren't in your current career, what would you be doing?
Comedy.
What's a fun fact most people do not know about you?
I hate socializing.
Really?
Believe it or not, I like being at home. I like being away from people. I know it goes against everything I've done. It's a strange one. I just love my own space, just be by myself. Even my wife figured it out after a few years of marriage that you're strange. You like being by yourself too much.
Describe your leadership style in 3 words.
Do your thing.
Do your thing. And finally, what's one word you'd use to define your legacy?
Humanity.
Humanity. Oh, look at that. Full circle back to defining yourself first and foremost
Yeah,
as human.
yeah.
Love that. Love that. And that was unintentional, I can
It
tell,
was,
because
it
you
was, it was not planned.
yeah, love it. It shows. It shows it's wired into you. It's who you are. It's your DNA, your fabric. Thank you so much, Enoch, for being such a great do you know, as I've been saying your name, it's occurred to me that you've got such a great Scottish name as well, because you've got the k at the end of it. I feel like I'm
All right.
saying Loch,
All
Enoch,
right.
Enoch.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, like,
That is true. No one
yeah,
has picked that up.
yeah,
You're right. Like
yeah,
Lochlomond and all those things.
yeah,
Okay.
Loch, yeah.
Okay.
People usually say Loch, but actually it's Loch, like the
Loch.
in the middle of your name. So I've
Listen,
I've
see
been
my
saying
my
Enoch.
Scottish my Scottish rep just went up with that. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna be using
yeah.
that.
In fact, maybe being with you, we were talking before the call. I think before I pressed record about changing accents and me
Yes.
becoming more Scottish. I think
Yes.
seeing your name there and saying Enoch, I've become a bit more
More
Scottish as I've
Scottish.
been talking to you. Right. If people want to find out more about your work, get in touch with you, how should they do that?
I'm saying a few things. So because of everything I do, I decided to just create a website, so spotlight everything I do, and so put the link to everything in there. So it's just my name, enochateyemi.com. But where I'm most active is on LinkedIn. So
Okay.
if you type Enoch Adeyemi on LinkedIn, you probably find my name come up there, and you can connect with me. And yeah, we can have a chat, or you can send me a contact message from my website as well.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it and hope we'll cross paths at some point again in the future.
Absolutely, Mark, and thank you very much for inviting me. Sometimes it's good to have these conversations as well to take me down memory lane and just to relive some of the work myself and those around me are doing, and just to laugh at some of I guess some of my failures as well. So thank you very much, Mark.
You have been listening to the Safe Leader podcast, uncovering the diversity story behind leading figures championing change to make our world a better place. If you have enjoyed the episode, please subscribe to the Safe Leader podcast on your podcast platform of choice and get notified when a new episode goes live. Did you know that we also offer a full transcript on each of our podcast episodes? Check out my website, markmcbride-wright.com. Here, you can also explore the training, coaching, and keynote speaking services I offer. And whilst you're there, why not join the Safe Leader community by subscribing to the Safe Leader Insights mailing list? Thank you for listening, and please come back and join us on a future episode.